Hello, my name is Peter Gutstein, and this is my presentation for CSU44097 Project Methods. Last year for my software engineering project, I was part of a group working with Mercis Technologies, which specializes in virtual reality job training applications. Training in virtual reality allows employers to familiarize trainees with their work environment before they begin working. It also helps to minimize the impact of accidents during training, as an accident during training in virtual reality holds no risk to the trainee or the equipment, whereas a training accident in the workplace could seriously injure an employee and/or be very costly to fix. In addition, virtual training allows for a direct comparison of skills, both for individual employees' growth over time and between employees. The aim of this project was to create a generic prototype for our client to build upon in the future. This prototype would consist of a virtual reality application that would be connected to a web application. The VR application needed to collect constant data about user movements within VR and then send that data to be displayed in the web application. The client didn't specify what data we should collect, they only specified it should be relevant to the user and their actions. So, we were given a lot of freedom for interpretation. The other client-directed aim was that all data should be recorded using hand tracking as opposed to controller-based tracking. In order to tackle this project, we split ourselves into 3 teams. I was part of the VR team, which was responsible for the implementation of the VR application that would record data and send it off. We decided to track hand position over time, as other metrics, such as speed and velocity, could be derived from that. We also measured force applied to a specific button within the application. We used Unity and C# to create the VR app. We tested the project on the MetaQuest 2 headset, as it has built-in ability to track hand movements, avoiding the need for a complicated hardware setup. The second team was the back-end database team, which received data from the VR team and processed it so that it could be easily parsed and used later. The database used Python and the Flask API as well as MongoDB to manage and process the large volume of data coming from the VR application. The third team handled the front end, creating the website and displaying the formatted data from the back-end team. This portion of the project was built using React.js and HTML. The teams worked on a 2-week sprint schedule, which allowed us to rapidly make progress. We utilized constant intra-group communication via Discord to troubleshoot, check in on progress, and integrate the pieces of the project seamlessly and quickly. We stayed in constant contact with our demonstrator and the client via separate weekly Zoom meetings to ensure we remained on track to the client's goals. After 10 weeks, we created a VR application that tracked user hand movements as seen in this video, sent them to the backend, which processed the raw data, and extrapolated hand position, hand velocity, and force exerted on a button within the VR application. This web application allowed users to sort these metrics by specific sessions, enabling comparisons of metrics between sessions. A sample hand speed graph and hand position graph can be seen on the right, where the 2 colors in the hand position graph represent each separate hand as it moves throughout 3D space during the session. The primary measure of success of our project was client satisfaction. Mercis was particularly happy with the visualization of the data and how our web application highlighted the possibilities of VR training and the power this data can create for training procedures. We had hoped to include more metrics, including more precise measurement of hand gestures, which would increase the application's utility as a base framework for various job training tasks. However, the timeline was quite tight, so it did force us to scale back. Still, given the short amount of time we had to create this project and the steep learning curve of learning several new technologies in a short amount of time, the project was quite successful. It ended up being nominated for the Swing Industry Award in 2023, of which we as a group were very proud of. Thank you for your time.